Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel if you've been here before, and hello if you're new. So I've been on the hunt for crochet projects that only require a minimal amount of crochet on account of my shoulder being kind of buggered up at the moment. And the other day I was casually scrolling through Pinterest as you do, and I came across a crochet hack. And I paused and was like, there's something we haven't done in a while. So yes, I am jumping back on the crochet hack train, although in this case we are swapping out TikTok for Pinterest. Before this particular train leaves the station though, I'm going to put a couple of disclaimers up on the screen because I don't know what it is about this particular genre of video, but in every one, there is a small minority of people who get disproportionately upset about these points in particular. So I'm just putting these disclaimers up front and center so you are all forewarned and you can bow out now if this isn't going to be the kind of video that you'd enjoy. But for those of you who do plan to stick around, let us jump into the first hack. Okay, and we're all set. I think everything's good to go. And the first video I have for you guys today is one regarding magic circles. It is about closing up the little hole that is sometimes left when you make one. So let's see what this hack entails. All right, so we just have a magic circle and there's one with the hole and one that's closed up. Okay, we thread the needle, work through the backs of the stitches, and I'm assuming pull on the yarn. Yep, pull on the yarn. Okay. Well, I am going to test if that works, but the first thing I notice with this hack is that there is only one tail end, and I'm assuming from the video it is like what would have been like the working yarn, because here's something I prepared earlier. I've made some magic circles. So like when I make my magic circles, you have the yarn tail left over from the creation of that magic circle. But then you have your working yarn, which would normally be attached to the skein. Now, the issue I see with this hack is that I think this person is weaving in the working yarn end. I mean, it's not 100% clear on the video. I don't really get a good look at it, but I think it is the working yarn end. Now that doesn't make much sense in the context of, say, amigurumi, where you would not really finish off at the end of round one, but continue working in those rounds. Therefore, weaving in the working end really isn't going to work in that case. But either way, I'm going to try it. I've got two magic circles here and I can always make more. So I'm going to weave in my working yarn end, or what would have been my working yarn end if it was still attached to the skein. I'm going to remove the magic circle tail just so it doesn't get in our way. And then the issue here is my little hole in the middle of my circle is actually not too bad at the moment. Let's just make that a bit worse so the hack will hopefully work. And then I'm going to weave in my yarn end through the backs of my stitches here. So weave in there, onto there, under there, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we pull on that, and yeah, that works well. It closes up. But again, the issue, like I mentioned before, is if I am making amigurumi, I'm not going to stop, cut my end, finish off my magic circle, reattach my yarn, and then continue on doing that. I mean, I suppose that is an option if you want to go that route, but personally, I don't want to stop. I want to continue on with my rounds. So yes, it technically works. What I will try though with my second little piece here is I'm going to attempt to weave in the magic circle end. This is something I do when, say, I'm making a granny hexagon cardigan, so my magic circle doesn't unravel, because I prefer starting with a magic circle rather than the chain method. So my magic circle doesn't unravel, I will leave a long yarn tail at the start, and then I will weave that in later to secure it. I mean, just because I don't want my granny hexagon cardigans to come undone from the armpits when I'm wearing it. So I'm going to see if this this end works just as well. So I'm going under the 6th stitch. I may not have left a long enough yarn tail here, but I will endeavour to try. We're going under stitches 4, 4 and 5, then 3, 2 and 1, and then pull. And that, I think, sorry, I know this piece is a little bit small, but all my scrap yarn at the moment is either 8 ply or 12 ply. I used up the thicker stuff, so I couldn't get that to show you guys, but that has worked just as well. So if you are someone who works in magic circles and you either don't like that little hole that is left, or you would like to weave in your end to secure it so your project doesn't unravel, I would recommend leaving a long yarn tail when you begin your magic circle or your magic ring, and then weaving that in through the first 6, 8, however many stitches you do in round 1. All right, hack 1 finished. Let's jump into hack number 2. Hack number 2 is an alternative to safety eyes, because there's sometimes you don't have safety eyes, you don't have the right size safety eyes, or you just don't want to use safety eyes for numerous reasons. So this one, we go in and then we wrap the black yarn around the needle. Okay, and then back into the same stitch and work. I don't do embroidery, but it's one of those things that is on my crafts to learn list. I have watched a few tutorials on it at this stage, and if I'm remembering correctly, I think this is actually an embroidery stitch. If it is, and you know what that stitch is called, please put it down in the comments, because I'd be interested to know if I'm right on this one. So to try this hack, I'm going to need an amigurumi piece. I've got my bag of odds and ends with me today. And oh, I actually have a headpiece that we can use. There you go, that's my lucky parasol. Has anyone played Paleo Pines? That was my prototype for lucky from that. Then, you know what, I'm going to use the purple yarn, so we've got a bit of contrast going here. Thread that through my needle. Alrighty, let's watch this again. See if I can get it right on the first try and not bugger it up. Not holding out much hope, but keep the optimism alive. I'm not optimistic about being optimistic. All right, so into the work. Let's do this one step at a time. So you go into one stitch, then out of the stitch, I think where you want the eye to be. Pull the yarn through, leave a little tail hanging there. And it's at this point we wrap the needle around. So we want to go under the yarn like that, and I think we continue wrapping it around. I don't know if the number of times you need to wrap it around is significant, or if you just wrap it around more to get a bigger eye. I'm not sure, but I'm going to try and count how many this person did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so they wrapped it around 5 times. Again, that may be significant, maybe not, no idea, but I'll try and do the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then they went straight into the same stitch. Stay still, lucky. And just pulled straight through, and that knot seemed to stay there. So straight through, and then like so. Okay, I did it. I did not expect to get that on the first try. Ha! Optimism pays off sometimes. I want to try though wrapping it around more times. So I wrapped it around 5 then. I'm going to double that, and I'm going to go for 10. So if I go in here, and it occurs to me that this isn't just a good method for eyes, it could also be a good way to add details such as spots. that could work. I'm going to have to keep this one in mind. So let's see if I can remember. So you went under like this. Stay still, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. Back in. You stay there. Back in. Pull through, please. This one's not going so well. Yeah, what did I do wrong there? I pulled it straight through the head. Maybe 10 was too much. Maybe having 5 on the wrapped around the needle was significant. I think I'm going to give that's a bit short now, but I'm going to try that one more time. So either the fault is with the user, or there is a reason you only wrap it around 5 times. Again, if this is that embroidery stitch, I believe it to be, there could be a reason for that. I don't know. I don't know enough about embroidery to expound on that. But it did work with 5 wraparounds. That is a viable way to add eyes, spots, or any other detail to amigurumi. Moving on to hack number 3. This one I picked because it's similar to one I have recommended before. It was a hack I learned from a creator called the Spoony Stitcher here on YouTube. And it's another one that deals with magic circles. But this one is regarding magic circles made with this fluffy yarn. This is the Parfait Premier Chunky yarn, and if you've ever tried to make a magic circle with it, you know it can be a nightmare trying to close it. The friction just prevents it from closing up. The fluff like gets everywhere. It's a pain in the ass. And one alternative is to use the chain 2 method to begin, but I've never liked that method because it does leave a fairly significant gap in your work in round 1, which I don't like. So because neither of those 2 methods work very well, we need something else, and that's where this hack comes in. To begin, you're going to need your plushy or your fluffy yarn, whatever it is you want to work with. And then you're also going to need a bit of like acrylic. I'm using 8-ply here at the moment. So you just need a length of that. I'm a little bit ahead of the hack in this one. So you're going to wrap the 8-ply around your fingers like you normally would. And then you're going to place the plush yarn over the top. With your hook, this is not the right size hook, but I'm just going to use it for demonstration purposes. You go under, grab the plush yarn and pull it through. And then they don't show it in the hack. That's one issue I kind of have with a lot of these hack videos. They either don't show all the steps, or they're too fast, or in some cases the creator's hands are blocking the work so you can't see what's going on. And this has kind of occurred in this one. They sort of skip the step, but I chain 1 here, and my chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch in your round. So you chain 1, and then you work your stitches of your magic circle over the thinner yarn, or the 8-ply yarn. So I'm going to go into the center of the circle created by my 8-ply yarn here. I'm going to do my 6 single crochet. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then you're just going to pull on the tail ends of your 8-ply yarn to close up the magic circle. So I'm going to pull on that, and that closes up really nice and tightly. So you don't have to worry about the friction, you don't have to worry about the gap. And then once you've crocheted all of your stitches for round 1, you just continue crocheting as you normally would. As I mentioned, that chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch, so I will just continue crocheting into this stitch here, the first single crochet that I did, skipping that chain. with that out the way, we are on to hack number 4. And for hack number 4, I'm just going to add some double crochet because this piece needs to be worked in the round in double crochet. So I'm going to chain 3 here so I can start off my round in double crochet. And oh, Lucky's getting a decent shout out today. I used his head before, now I'm using his tail. Or her tail. Was Lucky or her? I don't remember. So this hack is an alternative for chaining 3 when you're working with double crochet in the round. Personally, I've always thought the chain 3 at the start of my round looks kind of ugly. So if this hack works, that could be very useful, especially for clothes and items like that where you want your join, you want it to look neat. So let's see what we do here. So slip stitch. Let's do that. We're going to slip stitch into the top of chain 3 there. Slip stitch. And then pull up with your hook. So it looks like we're pulling up to about the height of a double crochet, so about that tall. So I'm going to pull up. Okay. What's next? Wrap it around. So we're going, I might have to watch that again. Okay, so we're going down and coming in from the right hand side. Back up. And then yarn under and pull. So we're yarning under and then pulling behind the little twist we just made. And then pull through both loops. So to finish off, yarn over, pull through both loops. Okay, that wasn't too difficult. I'm going to double crochet my way around again. Which is going to take me like 20 minutes at the moment, but I think I skipped a stitch. I skipped a stitch, didn't I? Yep. Okay, I'm going to double crochet around and then we're going to compare what I just did to the chain 3 I did initially. And then if I slip stitch to finish, yeah, that looks so much better. You can see the difference between the chain 3. Let me bring it up a little bit closer. My hands are shaking. The chain 3 here and that method there. I like that so much. Yeah, I really do like the look of that. I am definitely going to be implementing this one when I'm making clothing. As I said before, I think it'll just look so much neater. I love it when I find useful hacks like that. But now we can go on to hack number 5. I think 5. Yeah. And this is one I've been meaning to try it for ages. It is the Russian join. I have tried other joining methods in the past, but I don't think I've tried this one in particular. This yarn is probably not going to work for this. I'm going to frog that. I don't want to waste the yarn, so let's frog you. I'm going to have to grab out some other acrylic. Where's the end of my yellow? I'm going to need my needle for this one. So we begin by wrapping our yarns around each other like so. And then you take the tail end and then weave it back through the working yarn of that same color. So I'm working the purple end of the purple through the purple yarn. So I'm going to start by weaving through the purple. So I want to get right between the threads here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the yellow yarn. And then she just tugged on the, I mean, that's not going anywhere. I can't pull very hard with my left hand at the moment, but yeah, that's secure. Oh, hang on, bit of movement. That seems fairly secure. I should have weaved it in a little bit more here, I think, but Now that seems pretty good. I like that. And I think this method could be really useful if you need to join like 2 yarns of the same color. So say you're making a big project, you finish off with one skein, you want to join the color back in, but you don't want to weave in ends, or you don't want to have like a knot in your work. That could be a... I apologize, my cat is trying to get in my room. I don't know if you can hear the scratching at the door. Boo, just hang on a minute. But that could be a good way to utilize this joining method. I don't know if it would work as well, say if you were trying to change color at the end of your row, because you'd have to get the join sort of right in the correct spot in order to use it at the end of your row. So I don't know if it would be as helpful in that scenario, but I still think this is a neat little trick to keep in your, you know, your crochet toolbox. Moving on to our 6th hack for today. And this one is a method of securing your crochet if you want to cut it. Now let me tell you right off the bat that this gives me so much anxiety just watching it, but we're going to give it a go. I think I've got some, let me pause that. I think I've got some stuff I can use here. Hang on a minute. I have to deal with this cat. You are so annoying. You can't sit on me though. Look, I'll get your blanket. Oh, bloody cat. Come on. Don't rap at me. Her Majesty has her blanket and her pillow, so hopefully she'll be fine. You better be fine. Where was I? Okay. We're going to attempt to cut but salvage our crochet piece. So to begin, we weave some yarn through the backs of our stitches, and then we just cut below that. It seems straightforward enough. So let's grab a length of, we might do the blue yarn, and I'm going to do this fairly low down the piece, so that way I get multiple attempts if and when I screw it up. I think this was Lucky's belly too. We're just using all the Lucky pieces today. So we're going through the backs of the stitches. So that's like our lifeline. Did I skip? No, I didn't skip that. And then I think we just cut below that. Cut below. Remove the fluff. Boo. I see you running around all crazy over there. Alright, I got most of it. And then attach new yarn and slip stitch all the way across. Was the lifeline yarn removed? No, that's still inserted. So I need to get my crochet hook in there. And then I might use the yellow actually, because that's the same weight as the cream. So I'm going to join. So slip stitch. Oh, I think I should have gone through these two. Go through. Okay, and I'm gonna slip stitch. Yeah, I've caught on all the fibers there. I need to do that again. So slip stitch. I think that's a bit better. Then slip stitch. I'm going to cut the yellow yarn now, and then I think I just remove the lifeline yarn, which is my blue. Cut you first. Pull up. Yeah, I really didn't work with the right yarn in the cream, because I used I can't remember what it was, but the fibers just kept splitting, which is why I used it for like a prototype. I wasn't going to use it for anything else, but that made it significantly more difficult to work through, especially because the lifeline yarn kept getting in the way. But despite those things, and they were like self-inflicted, that was definitely my fault. Well, I didn't finish off properly there, did I? But I think this has worked okay. Let me do that last stitch again. And I want to, yeah, so I keep catching like threads from the cream yarn. It's made crocheting a little bit more difficult, but that seems to be secure. That's not going anywhere. So I can imagine this would come in really handy. I can remember one project that I had to cut. I made it too long. I think it was my original version of my Evolution jumper. I made the back panel, like it must have been 5 or 6 rows way too long, and I had to cut it. And I spent hours trying to fix that, because I didn't want to frog it all, because the mistake was down the bottom and I'd done like 150 rows of color work, which I did not want to frog, so I ended up just cutting it. I wish I'd known this method then. That would have made things so much easier. I'm just got the 1,000-yard stare thinking of all those hours I wasted when I could have fixed it in an hour if I'd known how to do this. Let's see if the next hack is just as helpful. What do we have for hack 7? So how to wind leftover yarn with a crochet hook. Oh, I remember picking this one out because I do have a bag of scraps, which at the moment they've just been haphazardly tossed in there. So I think it would be a good idea to wind them up a little bit, but a lot of them aren't quite long enough to justify using the yarn winder. And so I saw this hack and I was like, oh, yeah, that could work. So we're going to try that here today. I just grab out a little bit. And you actually use a crochet hook for this one. So let's have a watch. Okay, so we start by making a slip knot. And then you hold the slip knot in place and you start winding your yarn. So let's grab my, don't need you, I'll grab you. So just make a slip knot. Hold that in place and then start winding the yarn. Get you out of the way. Winding the yarn. Not like that, that's a bit messy. Around the hook. And I imagine there's no reason you couldn't do this around a pencil or some sort of stick-shaped object, but I liked the addition of the slip knot because you'll see why in a minute. So I'm going to angle that now, keep wrapping. My wrapping technique needs some work. And then once you've wrapped all your yarn around, you just pop off your, let me tuck that in. I really did not do a good job wrapping that around, did I? Get in there. But you just pop off your slip knot end and you use that as a center pull. So if I take that off, this isn't going to stay together because, again, my terrible wrapping skills. But yeah, you pop that off and you have a nice little center pull with your slip knot. I mean, you could wrap it prettier than that, definitely, but I think that is a good way to store your scrap yarn. At least I'm going to get a lot of wrapping practice, so there's that. Nice, neat little hack that I can add to my toolbox. You can go back in the bag there. And then to round things out today, we have a color change method. I have tried a couple of these in the past. I don't think I've tried this one in particular, but I'm always on the lookout for various color change methods because depending on what sort of amigurumi you make, it is helpful to have sort of different methods to pick and choose from. Okay, so this one, it looks like we're single crocheting around, but the first yarn over pull through is done in the original color, and then the second yarn over pull through is done in the color that you're changing to. Have I done this one? I don't remember. I don't know. I can't remember if I've done this one or not. You know what? We'll use the tail again. We'll use Lucky's tail. We're just going to pretend that this is the original. Where is the tail end gone? Excuse me. Where did you disappear to, sir? Don't know. How do you just lose a center pull like that? I didn't tuck it back in, I don't think. Mystery for another day. We're just going to pretend that this is the original color, and I'll crochet around in that. This is one of those hacks that they've sort of jumped forward a bit, because in the video there's already 3 or 4 stitches of the color change completed when they first start to show the color change. So I am just going to go into my next stitch. I will bring in my new color, the purple. I'm going to line that up behind. I'm going to hold both of my yarns at once, which I'm not particularly good at, so this is probably going to be the trickiest part of this hack for me. And then you yarn over and pull through in the original color, but then to finish the single crochet, I'm going to yarn over and pull through in my secondary color. But then I'm going to go into the second stitch, yarn over, pull through in the original, yarn over, pull through in the secondary, third stitch, yarn over, pull through first, yarn over, pull through second, and I'm just going to make my way around the piece like this. And we're back to the start, and from this point I would imagine that we just continue working in the second color that we switched to. So there we go. There is our color change. I've done several stitches more of the second round in the purple. I'm not going to do the whole thing because I don't think it's really necessary, and my shoulder's a bit sore. So that does look neat. I do like that, but you still get a bit of that jogging there when you change color. It just tends to happen when you crochet in the round. I have tried a couple of methods that supposedly eliminate that. In my experience, I haven't found one that really works 100%, so I will be on the lookout for that. But in regards to the color change itself, not the end / start of the row there, but the color change itself, that does look nice and neat. So if you want a clean color change in your amigurumi, I would recommend this method. It works pretty damn well. So that was hack number 8. Yet another crochet tool added to the toolbox. Lovely. So what did you guys think of the hacks we went over today? Do you use any of them? If you haven't previously, will you use any of them going forward? If you have your own hacks that you would like to share, you are free to pop them in the Discord. There is a link for that down in the description. Before we finish up here today, we of course need to do... And today's featured creator on the hookup is Bree, and she says, I started learning how to crochet about 2 years ago, but picked it back up a couple of months ago. I used to mainly crochet blankets and bigger projects, but recently learned that I love crocheting amigurumi. I spend most of my time crocheting cute amigurumi plushies, and I'm currently working on my first sweater as well. I'm excited to learn more and get the most that I can from this amazing hobby. I really hope your sweater went or is going very well. I remember crocheting my first jumper and I was so happy with myself when I finished it. Wasn't the best jumper in hindsight, but hey, I mean, it was my first one. I was happy with the results, and I hope you are too. If you would like to check out Bree's work, all of her links will be down in the description, and so will a link to a Google form if you would like to apply for the hookup for yourself. Thank you guys for watching this one. It's been a while since we've done a TikTok, or in this case Pinterest, hacks video, and I thought not being able to crochet very much, it was a good opportunity to revisit. So let me know what you thought. Again, if you have any hacks of your own that you would like to share for a potential future video, pop those in the Discord. Thank you very much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it, share it if you think it's worth sharing, and I will see you guys in the next one.